Hey, what's going on, everyone? Rocky here with 75 South Gardening. In today's video, I'll be giving you guys an update of the garden. But the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and harvest some of the crops that you see here. So today I'll be harvesting all of my cabbage plants because they are now ready to harvest. All of the heads are now firm. This way, I can go ahead and prep this bed for my peppers and also my tomatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the whole plant, but what you want to do is leave the roots in the ground. Now, leaving the roots in the ground will help improve your soil over time, because as the roots decay, they will become available nutrients for plants in the future. Leaving your roots in the ground will also provide food for your microbes, like your bacteria and your fungi and your worms. Not only will it feed them, it will also help with water retention and aerating the soil. And in the wintertime, you will notice a small hole in the center of this stalk. That will be a home for your beneficial insects to live in over winter. So this is the rest of my cabbage harvest for this year. And these were harvested just in time because they are starting to flower. Now there's 2 more cabbage plants that I need to go ahead and harvest right over here in my 20-pound grow bag. Now for those of you that are harvesting cabbage, remember, if it squeezes in like that, it's not ready. Your cabbage heads need to be nice and firm. So I'm going to harvest this one and let that one finish. Now that I have that finished, I'm going to go ahead and harvest my kale from both beds. And you harvest it by simply clipping the stalk. That's it. You don't have to harvest the whole plant. I'm going to let these grow until they show me that they don't want to grow anymore and they've bolt. For those of you that don't know what bolting is the process of your plant going to seed, where it will only produce seeds. Once it starts to bolt, your leaves will become bitter and you want them to be sweet. Now for those of you that have greens or any type of kale that hasn't bolted, you want to wait until our last frost. That way your greens will have a sweeter taste to them. I'm now finished harvesting my kale, and I've also decided to leave some of the smaller leaves on. That way, by the time our last frost gets here, these will be ready to harvest again, and I'll have a batch of sweeter leaves. Now another thing that I'll be harvesting today is going to be my collard greens. These are the ones that I told you all were cross-pollinated, and most of them have started to flower. Now there's 3 of them that are missing. I gave those away to the neighbor because they started to go to seed. The same thing here. So I'll be removing the whole plant on these, and when my new seedlings are ready, I'll plant right next to the older ones. And this is today's harvest, minus the dwarf kale that you see here. It's just that simple, y'all. The more you peel off, the more the plant produces. And my potatoes have started to come up also. So all of them have come up except the one here and the one there. But the rest of them have come up out of the ground. I'm still waiting on the ones over here. Now right here in the center, This one has come up, and it looks like something is coming up here. I'm not going to bother it. And also the ones in the bucket have come up. This is why I say healing is a waste of time, because the potatoes always find their way to the top with no problem. Now these are also starting to come up, y'all. And you can tell because you will see it poking up while everything else is lying flat. For example, it's sticking up right here, and there's a plant. Now, like I said in the last video, the frost will kill the top growth off, but it'll just grow right back. So don't worry about it. Now, the only other thing I have to harvest is going to be the big kale plant here in the 20-gallon that has also started to flower. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that from the base. Now this is a big one. For those of you that are container gardeners, these grow best in a 20-gallon grow bag, in my opinion. Now that I have everything harvested, I can go ahead and take these inside and clean them up, chop them up, blanch them, and store them in the freezer. Now a few of my cabbages and some of the collards and kale will be stored in the refrigerator because those will be cooked first. So what I'm going to do now is give you guys an update on my transplants, and I'll also be starting my melons and my cucumbers. So these are the transplants. I have my marigolds to attract my pollinators, my peppers, my tomatoes. Now these are the peppers from the seeds I harvested from last year's harvest, and the bigger ones are from the Dollar Tree. Now these are all different colors, so I'm not sure which varieties they are. And here's the Georgia Southern collards and my tomatoes. Now the 12 in the back are the ones that I'll be using, and the 11 that you see from the 9 here, and these 2 I'll be giving away. Now 8 of these will go into the raised bed, and the 4A plants, which are probably the smaller ones, these are determinants, and they will be grown in 5-gallon buckets. So right now what I'm going to do is go ahead and show you guys different methods that you can use to start your melons and cucumbers. Alright, so I'm going to start off with the cucumbers. Now the best method for starting these, in my opinion, is the sandwich bag method. You simply get you a sandwich bag and paper towels. Now what I'm going to do is just take a few seeds to demonstrate and place them right onto the paper towel. Now with this method, they will germinate within 4 days. So what you want to do is, once you see them sprout and the roots are at least an inch long, go ahead and plant them into your seed starting mix, because if you don't, they will grow pretty fast and you'll have a bag full of plants, and the roots will latch on to the paper towel, and you never want to disturb the roots of your cucumbers, and it'll be hard to pull it off, and that can cause shock to your new seedling. So once they sprout, you want to go ahead and plant them in your seed starting mix, or even the potting mix that you're going to be using in your garden, because within 2 weeks these will be ready to go outdoors. And from here, what you want to do is place your napkin inside of the sandwich bag. Now all you have to do is place this in the windowsill and wait for them to germinate. Within 4 days, they should start to germinate. Now you can also start your cantaloupes with the same method. So you want to put about 8 onto the napkin. Well, that's more than 8, but if they all grow, they will be planted into the garden. Pour a little water over it. And place it in the center of your sandwich bag. All you have to do is place them in the windowsill and watch the magic happen. Now, if the napkin starts to dry out, just add a little water and seal the bag back up. The second method to starting your seeds is to simply soak your seeds in a cup of water and place it in a dark cabinet and wait for about a week, and they will germinate in the water. Now your cucumbers and cantaloupes germinate very well by soaking them. So right here, I have cucumber seeds. I'm simply going to drop them into the water, and these are the tender greens. And the third way that you can start your seeds is to simply direct sow them. And this is just peat moss and perlite. So for those of you that are going out to buy seed starting mix, that's all you're buying is peat moss and perlite. So I'm going to mix this in well. Then I'm going to pour boiling water over it to sanitize it. Sanitizing your seed starting mix will help prevent fungus gnats. It will also help prevent the fungal disease known as damping off. So while this is cooling off, I'm going to show you guys how to prepare your solo cups. So we're going to start right here. First step is to simply write the name of what you're growing, because you will forget. The second step is to put holes for drainage in the bottom of your solo cup. You can also add one on the side, because we're going to be watering these from the bottom. Always make sure that you are removing the excess styrofoam from making your hole. You want to get this out of the cup once you make the hole. If not, it will just close back up and your cups won't be able to drain. So the first method is to use the sandwich bag. The second method is to soak it in a cup of water and put this in a dark cabinet for up to 1 week. Now the third method is the best method in my opinion, and that is simply to direct sow it right into your soil mix or seed starting mix. Now for those of you that have a specific potting soil that you're using you can start these in that same exact potting soil. That way, once it gets in the ground, it will be acclimated to that exact potting soil. So I've added 4 seeds to each cup. Now all I have to do is simply fill these up. And that's all there is to it. Now the collards that you see here will also be transplanted into the garden today. So what I'm going to do is let these soak for about 30 minutes. And while these are soaking, I can get my new setup together. And since I waited so long to finish the video, I might as well give you all a sneak peek of what's going on and let you check out my new setup. Now down here, my kale has started to flower. So that is the end of the kale. Both beds will be harvested today. And I forgot to cover up the carrots that were started in the cups. And once it rained, it killed most of them. So what I'm going to do is just add a bunch of random seeds and wait for them to pop up. Now the ones over here are still growing. So the next step for these will be thinning. So in the April update, I'll show you guys how to thin your carrots out. The cabbage that I pulled the head off of has also bolted. And this will bolt soon also. And there's one other kale here growing out of my compost pile. And it hasn't bolted, so I'm going to let it keep growing. I still have one here, a red Russian kale, and my dwarf kales. Now this is the collard bed. I'm simply going to transplant the collards that you guys seen earlier. It's only been 4 days, and all of my determinate potatoes have emerged from the soil. Even the ones in the buckets and smaller containers. So within 60 days, these should have tubers that are a nice size. Potatoes are very, very greedy plants that require lots of watering during the process of them developing. So what you want to do is keep it moist while they're developing, at least for the first 12 inches of growth. You want the stalks to get nice and thick, because if you're harvesting potatoes with stalks the size of this, you're not going to get large potatoes. My oregano has started growing in the 20 gallons. And the garlic is doing pretty well also. And over here, these are the snap peas. And all across the cinder blocks inside of the raised bed, these are all garlic. And there's more in the cinder blocks on this raised bed. And this is where I'll be planting my peppers this year. And I made 2 separate raised beds. So my tomatoes will go over here, and on the end, I'll plant my 3 Cherokee purples. And right here, I'll have 1, 2, 3, and 4 super sweet 100s. And they're going to grow straight up the trellis that I have here. And right here in this side of the yard, there's full sun. And there's also potatoes over here in my corner garden. So right here in the front, this is where I'll put my trellis for my cucumbers. And over here, where I have the kale that has started to flower, these will be pulled up And I'll use that raised bed over here with the flowering collard. So my cantaloupes would be growing out of the raised bed right here. I'm just going to sit it right over the dirt. And I'll take this collard plant and plant it in one of these 20-gallon grow bags. And right here, these are determinate potatoes. All of them have come up except for this one here, but it is starting to come up. Now there's also 2 grapevines that are growing right here. Now I have to go to the other side. But this is my grapevine that is starting to grow back. Down here in front of the bed where I have the grapevines, I have a lemon balm growing that I never planted. Smells amazing, but you have to be careful where you plant mint because it will spread every time it flowers and the wind blows the seeds all over the yard. And right over here, these are the indeterminate russets. So this is the experimental side. As you can see, right in here, there's a little shade. But over here, this side gets more full sun earlier in the day. So that may affect the size of the potatoes, but I'm going to find out, does it grow better right here or over there? Or in my regular spot, in my raised beds on the other side. So in the April update, I'll transplant everything and I'll plant my cucumbers here, the large watermelon here, and over here, one of these will have the flowering collard, and the other one will have the small watermelon. This will be a raised bed with cantaloupe, and right here, these are more of the carrots that were started in the cups. Right now, I'm just going to water everything in really good, transplant my collards, and I'll also be prepping the 2 new raised beds. Now in April, when I upload my video on what to grow in the month of April, what I'll do is show you all how I like to transplant my seedlings. And I'll also be uploading a full grow guide on peppers. And that's it for today's video, you guys. Always remember to plan your garden with your health in mind.